Hey, what's up guys? We're back for another video, and I've been getting a lot of people asking about this lately, and it's all about capture cards, dual PC streaming, and single PC streaming. I kind of feel like capture cards was a very simple thing for me, but I do see where it gets a little weird at times, going from one computer to another and trying to take an audio source only in, or a video source or something like that. So what I want to talk to you guys about is how to set up your own capture cards and how to utilize things like high hertz monitors, high resolution monitors, and more, all within going inside of OBS and back out to the stream. And on paper, it seems very simple, but at the same time, it can be a little bit confusing because you have to deal with the capture card limitations, and some have limitations and some don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and start going over some stuff here for you guys so that you guys can start to understand what is gonna work for you in your situation. Strap in, because we're going in, and I got some stuff here to talk about. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So when it comes to capture cards such as like Elgato's HD60 Pro or Avermedia or wherever else you get your capture cards, there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, some capture cards don't have a pass-through, and some do. So you need to, right off the bat, already know what you're getting yourself into before you make your purchase. Certain capture cards have just the input and then it goes into your computer, right? So with certain companies, I'm going to use Elgato here as an example. You have a lot of different options in terms of what type of capture card you want. Some, however, don't have certain features that others do, whether that be resolution, frame rate, pass-throughs, whatever. So you got to go in knowing in advance what you have and what you want out of streaming. Some people just want to capture a device being an Xbox or a PS4 or something like that. That's very simple. All you need to do is get the capture card that has a little USB 3 cable. One of these two will work, and you just send that signal, you know, through USB to your computer, and then your USB, that device, the capture card, will be recognized inside of OBS. You just simply add a video capture device and select that device. So when you're in OBS, to add a video capture device, you would simply right click on your sources, add source, and you'd go down to video capture device. When you're in there, you type this into whatever you want. I'm gonna type Elgato because I'm just assuming we have an Elgato here. So it would bring you to this little window here, and you would go ahead and choose from the drop down menu your capture card. And when you do, it would automatically show up. The video will go live right here, and if it doesn't, consider, you know, looking at the resolution and make sure everything matches your monitor. But for the most part, if you have it set to device default, it should just automatically show up and you should be good to go. Very simple, very simple. So then now you have that one little source and you're able to move it wherever you want. Another option you have is doing something the sort of way that has a pass-through. Now, this Elgato that I have here, the HD60 Pro, has a built-in pass-through. And what I mean by that, let me go ahead and just pop this out and show you. Here is my, I know it's backwards. I went over this in another video. It's just easier for me to look at OBS and see it like a mirror rather than, it doesn't matter. So this is the HD60 Pro, and you can see right here in the back, it has two ports right here. One is an out and one is an in. And these ports are very, very useful in terms of when you are using a console to stream with. I don't recommend using the output when you're just using it to game on your PC, and I'll explain why in a minute. You would take a console and you would stick it into the in point of this. Now this is your capture card. The capture card will get recognized inside of OBS. That'll be your Xbox, but you need a way to play it. So you have two options. One, you can play with inside of OBS and just kind of go full screen OBS. That's not really preferable, right? And your second option is to get the output right here and simply go into the monitor of your choice that you want to watch and play the game on. There won't be any delay. There won't be anything bad. You'll be able to play game just fine. So I bought this because I thought I was going to be needing another one, and I don't. I literally got this capture card for my my game PC because I started to play around a lot with NDI, and I thought about sending NDI signals from one PC to another just for my own sake. It was nothing important. I was just messing around. I can't put this back in. What if your capture card doesn't have that pass-through that I'm talking about, the in and the out? What I like to use is what's known as an HDMI splitter, and that is what this looks like right here. So this is an HDMI splitter. Essentially, think about the capture card as it only takes an input and that's it. Now, if you want to be able to view it on a monitor and not just have it go directly into OBS where you have to game off of the inside of your OBS, an option you have is to put it through the input. So let's say your console goes into the input here, output goes into the capture card, and output 2 goes into your monitor. And that way you're still able to see the live image from your console very, very easily. And let me show you exactly what that looks like. Thinking about 60 Hz monitors and at 1080p. So let's do a one PC setup right here. So you got your one PC setup, and let's say you have a PS4 or an Xbox, and your computer's over here. Maybe you got yourself a monitor, or maybe you have 2 monitors here. And for this purpose, we're gonna go ahead and demonstrate as if you had a 2 monitor setup on your single PC. Now, the way you would do this is you'd get yourself a capture card of either kind. One, you would need the HDMI splitter in order to watch your gameplay on its own monitor without having to watch it inside of OBS. The other option is the one that has a pass-through built into it, and that way when it gets injected into your computer, it already has the output built in, and you just route it out to your monitors. So to demonstrate that, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw on the screen here. Let's say we'll just combine these two, your PS4 and your whatever other console you have. So we're gonna go ahead and look at this, and we're gonna inject them through HDMI into the Elgato, which is already inside of your PC, right? So now I'm gonna split the colors up here to make it a little bit more easier to watch. So now you're going to have the output out of the HDMI out of the Elgato HD60 Pro, and that's gonna go into your monitor. This is the one you'll be gaming on, and maybe you have chat or something open over here, but that's coming from your GPU. So your GPU is sending a signal over to there. Normally, you'd have your situation where you'd have 2 connections going out to each monitor, and this capture card wouldn't be here at all. We're gonna go ahead and disregard this entire cable right there. Very simple, and that's all you need to do. There's nothing fancy about it. So now let's look at it as if you didn't have the pass-through and all you had was maybe one of the Elgatos or Avermedias that don't have a pass-through. I'm actually not sure if this one has a pass-through or not. Let's not worry about it. Some do, some don't. Let's just assume that it doesn't. You're gonna have your Elgato here, or whatever your single input device is. And from here, we're gonna go ahead and stick this over here next to our stream PC, and we're gonna connect that via USB 3.0 into our computer so that OBS will be able to see it, much like the internal version of our capture card over here. Now we would take the signal from our Xbox or PS4, and we would go ahead and route them into our HDMI splitter. So we're gonna go ahead and take our signals coming in from our consoles, and we're gonna put them into the input of the HDMI splitter. And from there, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna switch the colors yet again, and we're gonna take one of the outputs of the HDMI splitter, which is getting the signal from our consoles, and send it right on into our beautiful little non-pass-through capture card. That way, OBS is going to see it, and again, your monitor already plugged in over here, right? This monitor, being your OBS monitor, is going to now see the signal coming in from your gaming. So the second output here, we're gonna go ahead and make it red. We're gonna come out of this secondary output and go directly into our monitor. It is very, very similar to our Elgato HD Pro 60 over here that already has a pass-through, but we need this whole other device just to act as that pass-through. So it gets a little more complicated, a little bit more cables, but in the end, it's essentially the same thing. So that takes care of what kind of capture card you can get to get the very basic image from your console or another source into your computer. And when I say another source, I mean, you know, another source like such as a DSLR or something like that, that also has another HDMI output, because to capture a DSLR, as most of you guys know, you will need to send an HDMI signal into your computer, and the only way to capture that properly is with a capture card. So you're gonna have to get yourself a capture card, send the signal from that, and just like you did with your console, you're doing the exact same thing with your camera. Very simple. Now let's think about maybe we have a 2 PC setup. So for this situation, let's just assume that we have a capture card inside of our stream PC right here, and this is our game PC, which maybe has 2 monitors, or maybe it's a single monitor for this situation, utilizing a capture card, because again, we're not talking about NDI, we're not talking about any of that kind of stuff. And again, we're gonna go ahead and try to connect these 2 monitors here. So out of our outputs, we have one HDMI or maybe one DVI going into each one of these monitors to get their own signals, right? So from there, you're gonna be wanting to clone or capture your game monitor, correct? The one that you're gaming on, the one that has your, you know what, I'll draw a little gun on here, kind of a thing, so you can see that, hey, that's a gun just shooting. We're playing Apex over here. It doesn't matter. So now you're trying to capture this, but not your secondary monitor. You don't really, I mean, you could capture that, but what would you, I don't really know why you would really want to. But anyways, so to do this, you have a couple options. Out of your back of your GPU, you do have another output. Maybe it's an HDMI, maybe it's another display port. And if you have it only display ports, if you already utilized your HDMI out and all you have is display port, they do make conversion cables to go from display or HDMI to display port, and you can do that, and hopefully that'll help you out. So with that third output, we're gonna go ahead and stick it into our capture card. Once it's in our capture card, now our OBS is seeing it and everything's fine. All I'm doing with this monitor is cloning it. Treat your capture card like its own monitor. So make this monitor 3, right? Now, with that said, the thing you can do, and let me go ahead and show you the example here. So for this situation, you can kind of see what my setup is doing right now. I have one monitor, the one that I'm gaming on, and I have, you know, these numbers are switched. Let me go ahead and just cross this out. So you can see that my monitors right now are, this one is cloning the other monitor. And the way you do that is you literally just come into your Nvidia settings, or, you know, if you go over to your display settings in Windows, you can easily configure this all within inside of here as well. It's very, very simple. I like to do it from the NVIDIA control panel because I'm doing it out of my GPU and it's NVIDIA and yada, yada, yada. So for this situation, you can see how my monitors are now labeled. And what I want to do is I want to select the Avermedia, the Live Gamer 4K. I right click and I go clone with source and clone with monitor number 1. And basically all it's doing is just copying this image, this gun game or whatever I'm playing, and copies this whole monitor to this other HDMI output. And now that is the source, just like a console or a camera or something like that. It's a source. It's taking the same image and just duplicating itself, putting it through the GPU and out into the capture card. Now your capture card sees it and it's 1 for 1, exactly the same thing. Now, where this can get into a situation where you can get kind of frustrated is if this monitor is not 60 hertz. Let's say you have a 144 hertz monitor. So let me go back here a little bit. And for this demonstration, we'll do 144 hertz just for, you know, you could do 120 hertz. It doesn't really matter. But so the same thing, you have this exact same setup going on here. And with that, we're going to go ahead and draw back on this screen here. And again, you have your two, you have your hookups going from, you know, your PC over to here. So when the problem with cloning your monitor, and when you do this, you're going to be cloning, you know, another signal over to the Avermedia. And if you take this same signal again, you're cloning up monitor 1 with your capture card, and we'll leave this one as 3. All of a sudden, because you're cloning it, it can only take the highest hertz possible, because it thinks this is a monitor when it's really a capture card. It's going to set this to 60 hertz regardless, because the HD60 Pro and most capture cards only run at 60 FPS. Because it's at 60 FPS, it's automatically going to want to clone this monitor to it, but it can't send over 144 FPS or hertz to a 60 FPS capture card. Sometimes you can, but it starts to look a little weird, and it doesn't always work. And most of the time, it'll downgrade your 144 monitor. Now it goes down to 60 hertz, and nobody's having fun with that. And for a long time, I dealt with this, and I didn't really know that I was dealing with it. And I was just like, man, I know I'm getting 144 FPS in my games, and I'm just not sure why I can't see the true smoothness of 144 hertz. So that's when I ended up upgrading to a new capture card. So the only way to get around that, and this is the exact same setup that I'm doing right now, is to upgrade your capture card. So one thing you can do is get yourself what I'm using right now, which is the Avermedia Live Gamer 4K, and it allows for higher resolution gaming as well as recording at 60 FPS. But the trick with this, and the cool thing about this, is that this will capture 1080p gameplay at 240 frames per second. So what does that mean? Now, if this thing is in your stream PC, you're now able to capture 144 FPS. You're able to capture 60 FPS. You're able to capture 240 FPS. And what that means is now when you clone your monitor, your 1, 3, and when you clone this to your 2, you are now going to be cloning both hertz, both frame rate and resolution over to this capture card because it's able to record at a higher frames per second. Your original computer, your game PC, Windows will think this is a monitor that has 144 hertz capability. And if I go look at my settings right now, and I go ahead and click on my Live Gamer 4K, you can already see I have that option right here to get the 144 hertz. And I can even up that to 240 if that was the only thing plugged in. So I'm able to get that 144 hertz when I am cloning this monitor. And if this monitor had something of a higher refresh rate, I would be able to clone it to the same capture card. And so that's how I'm able to get buttery smooth 144 hertz gameplay on my monitor as well as my capture card. When you start to play with monitors that have different refresh rates, if this one had 60 and this one had 144, and this one can do up to 240 FPS or 240 hertz, these may start to clash with each other because you're most of the time when you're playing games, your monitors like to be the same. They like to both have the same refresh rates and everything. And if they don't, you may see some issues happen when you have something up on this monitor, such as Chrome playing a music video or a video on YouTube at 60 hertz and 60 FPS. Sometimes it will affect your monitor over here and turn it into a 60 hertz monitor. I don't understand it. And once I ended up switching over and forcing this monitor to be 144 hertz, my whole life got way better. Once you have everything uniformly the same across all your computers and everything starts to be nice and smooth. It's when you have different frame rates and different hertz and everything like that things start to get a little awkward. That is the solution in the way you get to keep your 144 hertz and not sacrifice any sort of issues in terms of losing your smooth, buttery frame rate. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're gonna go into something a little bit more tricky that a lot of people don't really understand or know what to do in certain situations when you come across a 1440p monitor, a 2K monitor, 4K monitor, or an ultra wide monitor or something like that. And I'm gonna go over with you how to capture those images in the best way I think is possible so that you don't sacrifice quality on your side and the stream will still have its 1080p 60 FPS or whatever resolution you set it to in on Twitch, Mixer, or YouTube, or whatever you're streaming to. So again, let's start out here that we have our let's say we have a 2 PC setup. We're gonna go ahead and let's say that our stream PC just has a basic 1080p monitor, nothing fancy. But over here, maybe we have 2 4K monitors that we're on. Man, I don't know, we're rich or some shit. So over here, I'm gonna go ahead and start to show you guys how everything's connected. Okay, so here we are, and we have our stream PC with our 1080p monitor, 60 FPS, 144 FPS, whatever it is. And we have our capture card built into this as well. Let me go ahead and draw some connections here. So we do have the one HDMI going into this thing. The capture card is internal, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay that right there. And from here, we're gonna wanna capture our 4K monitor, one of our 4K monitors, primarily our gaming monitor. And for this sake, you know what, I might as well just move this monitor out of the way so you guys don't get a little confused at all. So the problem with this is that unless you have a 4K capture card, which I do have one here, but Twitch is never gonna see 4K. You're always gonna do 1080p, and until we get to that 4K era of streaming on the internet, which is who knows how far away, we're gonna go ahead and stick with streaming being at 1080p. Now, how are you gonna get 4K into 1080 when maybe you only have a capture card like the HD Pro 60 or an external, non-pass-through capture card? So we're gonna draw our cable coming out of here, going into our 4K monitor. So that's how it's taking that signal. Now, here's where it gets kind of cool. I've been saying this, that our capture card is more like another monitor in a sense. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and plug in a second output out of our GPU into our capture card. And from there, we're going to make our computer, make Windows think that this is a monitor on its own, and it'll show up inside of OBS and it'll be very easy. But what we're going to do is we're going to open up. Okay, hold on. What we're going to do is we're going to, in order not to sacrifice resolution or anything, we're going to go ahead and open up a second instance of OBS on our gaming PC. So we already have OBS running over here, which is going out to, let's say, Twitch. And a handwriting. So that's going out to Twitch right there, right? And over here, we're going to have another instance of OBS that we're not streaming off of. This is purely as a monitoring device. So you will need to have this plugged into your stream PC already to make this work. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to go ahead and open up OBS on your computer, on your gaming PC. All you're going to want to do is add a display capture and you're going to hit OK. So most likely if you have a black background, it'll just be a black background. Now here's where it gets cool. You have to imagine this is your second monitor on your game PC. So even though I don't have a secondary monitor on here, you need to treat OBS like that monitor, but just consider it a virtual monitor. So when you add a display capture, you're going to want to capture the monitor in which you are gaming on. So right now I've captured my main monitor, which is right here, which you can see in my, little preview window here. And from there, you're going to go ahead and just easily right click on it, full screen projector, and you're projecting it to your second monitor. That second monitor is your capture card. So when you hit apply and it goes into projector mode, what it's doing is basically full screening your preview. It is literally taking your entire preview monitor here and pushing it to your other monitor, but putting it in full screen. So you don't see all your sources or anything like that. You are literally full screen for what your preview is because you are projecting your preview to that monitor. Now what your capture card sees on your stream PC is now that exact same image. When you full screen it to your capture card is only 1080p and maybe it's 60 FPS. When you're full screen previewing it onto that capture card, you're not really seeing the correct resolution. You're essentially scaling your 4K down to your capture card's resolution. Does that make sense? So right now, my capture card, when I hit the full screen projector preview to my capture card, you are seeing this. Now, you're not going to see that it's in 4K or 2K or whatever I have it, but I will on my main monitor. And because I am essentially using this as a monitor and having the full screen projector of this image, no one's the wiser, and you still get to play at 4K and send that signal out. It is getting, downgraded a little bit, but obviously you can't put out a 4K stream, but this is the way you do it. So again, keep it simple. I know I'm being super technical about it, but keep it simple. You have two computers. Computer one, HDMI in, or whatever the cable is to your monitor. Second cable coming out of your GPU into your capture card, whatever that capture card may be. Your computer will see this and will display it inside of OBS just as a normal video capture device. You're opening up OBS on one computer and you're opening it up on another computer. This is the computer to stream PC, game PC, both have OBS inside of them. This one is literally just previewing this image, ends up going straight over to here and it sees it inside here. And now that 4K is what is seeing inside the capture card, but it's at 1080p. Now, what happens if you have something a little bit different? So now what do you do if you have an ultra wide monitor? Because that's such a different way. It's a different aspect ratio, right? It is not the same as your standard 16:9 monitor. These monitors down here are ultra wide. So let's assume this is an ultra wide monitor. How are you going to capture that if the resolution is all skewed? It's not 16:9 anymore. It's not, I don't know what the resolution is. I don't know what it, I don't know. The way to do that is to capture this monitor the exact same way we just did using a second instance of OBS. So when you open up, so when you are connected here to your monitor, your ultra wide, let's just type in wide. So when your wide monitor is down here connected to your game PC, the way to do it is again, just utilizing OBS. So you're going to come back inside of OBS. And when you're in OBS, you're going to go again and display capture your monitor. So when you display capture your monitor, it will capture your monitor and most likely it's going to be all skewed and all over the place because the resolution of your monitor is going to be all weird. So what you're going to want to do is if your image, again, don't pay attention to what's actually what I'm displaying here. If your screen is stretched and it's literally taking your wide screen monitor and shoving it and just forcing that perspective to 1080, all you're going to want to do is just go ahead and hold shift. And when you're holding shift, drag it to the correct resolution. Now, the only time that's gonna suck is that you're gonna have all this empty space because you're a wide monitor. You can't send that resolution out to Twitch. Twitch doesn't know how to deal with that. Twitch is 16:9. So what you're gonna wanna do is set this to the correct aspect ratio that is your ultra wide monitor. And then once you have that set, again, you're gonna come in here, right click on the preview and force the full screen project that screen, this preview monitor, to your capture card. And it'll come in looking exactly the way you have it here with these two black bars. It's gonna be up to you to figure out how you wanna utilize that. Streaming wide, ultra wide monitors on Twitch is a easy way to make your gameplay look really cinematic, having those two black bars there. But at the same time, it also gives you the flexibility to change up the way your stream looks. So if I come over here and I set my wide monitor here, you can see how much more room I have for maybe a camera, maybe chat, maybe alerts come on down here. And that way you can kind of play around a little bit more and have yourself a wide, ultra wide monitor. So that's the way you would send that different sized screen over to your capture card. Again, you're opening a second instance of OBS on your game PC and you're projecting this image to your capture card. Once you project it, just hide your OBS. And what you see on your screen is what is going to be seen, or however you set it up inside of that OBS, it'll be seen on your stream PC. Very, very simple. So I think that covers how to get the signals and everything to work with each other, how to get weird monitors over to your stream PC. And again, everything is utilizing a second instance of OBS, cloning your monitor. That's it. I know I'm going into a lot of detail here, but I'm trying to give you guys the more thorough version of this. Hopefully everything that I did here for you guys today is of help. And if not, feel free to message me down below. Tell me about what I'm doing wrong or what I'm not helping you out with, and go from there. The last little bit I want to tell you guys is, like, depending on whatever capture card you guys end up getting, to go ahead and go to their site and download the drivers for it, because OBS and your computer are both going to need those up-to-date drivers to be able to see everything perfectly. Now, you do not need the program that comes along with these capture cards. Avermedia has their own program. Elgato has their own program, and you don't need that. You need the specific drivers, and that's just for video and audio, and it doesn't install other things you don't really need. You go to their website, you go to drivers, you look up that capture card that you have, just the drivers for it, download them, install them, restart your computer. Everything's ready to go, and just start playing around. If you have any questions or concerns, message me down below and I'll go through anything I can. I've been doing this for so long that I feel like maybe I'm oversimplifying things or not simplifying them enough. So if I'm not being too thorough on something, feel free to let me know and I can try to help you out. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. This was a long recording, but that's okay. I'll edit it down. I think this is like an hour and a half for me, but for you, it's probably like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that sub button, dude. I'm going to keep making more videos. The more people that come in and ask me for videos and tutorials, I'll keep making them, man. Again, my name is Activator. I don't know anything. I don't claim to be the best at anything. I know what I know, and I wanted to get the information out there because I know that when I was first starting out, there wasn't a whole lot of information out, and I'm trying to get to everybody. You message me down below, I'll answer your comment. Granted, you have to give me something to talk about, not just be like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, give me something and I'll respond to you, and I'll try to help you out the best I can. And if it gets to a point where I'm getting multiple of the same question or comment, then I make a video on it. Hence why we're doing this capture card video. So, hey, capture cards. So there you go. Great. But yeah, I don't know. Go follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/activator. And I don't really stream on the weekends, which is why I'm recording this video. Pretty neat, right? Next video, most likely going to be going over the Go XLR. I have that for a future video. I just haven't done it yet. And there's a lot of capabilities with this Go XLR. It's like a whole changing voice and audio interface that really helps with a lot of issues for dual PCs and single PC setups and everything. It's just really cool. So yeah, anyways, sub me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. Maybe follow me on Twitter at @TwitchActivator on Twitter, and know when I next go live. I always post on there an hour beforehand, and then when I go live. Or if you want to message me on there, feel free to. Hit me up, tweet me, whatever you want. Last little bit here I want to add to this video. I have a lot of other videos here on this channel. I have a whole section on Streaming 101. Little videos that will pop up at the end. Go watch, dude. I do everything from NDI cameras, dual PC, single PC, codecs, OBS, I don't know, microphones. I do everything. So go check it out. And if there's something that I want to update, I will do so. So yeah, go check out all those other videos, because a lot of you guys end up commenting down below like, hey, how does your camera move? Hey, do you have a video on this or that? And most of the time the answer is yes, I already have a video for that. Just go look. Just go look. Look around my channel, go find the Streaming 101 at the end of this video, or I'll just link it down below. Maybe I should just start doing, I'll put it in the description. Okay, I'll put all the videos in the description, make it simple on you. And you guys can go there and find out anything you guys want that I have from my knowledge to you guys. I think this is like the 14th or 13th or 15th video, I don't know. But go look. Don't be lazy. If you're gonna comment down below like, hey, how do you do this? Just go look at my other videos first and then comment. Okay, all right, that's it. That's the whole thing. I'm gonna go to a bar. I'll catch you guys maybe during the week. I'm getting texts, so I'm leaving. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll catch you guys next time, and thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't. I'm just here to help you guys out and just try to provide tutorials wherever I can and whenever I can. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm leaving. All right. Okay. I'll catch you guys later. Okay. Bye.